Hello everyone, my name is Pinky Leah and welcome back to Blooming Nightshade. We're officially dating Kiyomi, and while the majority of the time it seems like we're just friends, we did go over to her room and she had us go through clothing on some websites, to which she showed us an outfit that she would like us to wear, which makes our breasts stand out. So it seems like we are progressing at least a little bit in the relationship. And we did mark down the website and the outfit name, so I wonder if we end up buying it and wearing it for her. Let's see, we start with week 14. Kiyomi told me that they were having their last track meet for the year, so I decided to show up to meet her there. After the team was finished with their meeting, the girls began to head back to the dorm building. I went over and waved to Kiyomi, who smiled and waved back at me. No more running outside until January. Too bad it'll probably be even colder than it is right now. I don't know if I'd look forward to it, thinking that way. Kiyomi grinned, but didn't seem to have a response to that. Anyway, I'm going to have a little more free time for the rest of the semester. Want to do something together? Sure, what you have in mind? Kiyomi took my hand, dragging me along without another word. I was so surprised I decided to let her take me along. She took me to her room, a big smile on her face when she finally turned to look at me. Stop me if you don't like this, okay? Okay? What do you mean? Kiyomi grabbed my shoulders and stood on her toes to kiss me on the lips. I could barely believe what I had felt, but I didn't pull away. Instead, I took Kiyomi by the waist and held her steady as we kissed again. Progress! We're finally acting like a couple. We probably kissed for a whole minute or two before Kiyomi finally stepped back, breathing heavy. I've been wanting to do that since we agreed to go out, but I never thought there was a good time for it. Well, you found one. We both giggled. Kiyomi's face was as red as mine probably was. So, wanna watch a movie or something? That sounds like a good idea. Do you have anything ready to go? Kiyomi and I sat down, going over some movies that Kiyomi had found online or at the school library. We had a great time together, but I think it was really hard to just ignore the kiss we shared as we tried to find tamer ways to hang out. Week 15. I laid my head on my open books, feeling all the energy leave my body. You're going to tear that page out. Don't do that, Himika. You're the only one who brought that book with us. I forced myself to sit up in my seat. My friends and I had gone to the library to study for final exams. Too much. There's too much to study. That's why we have the review sheets. It's still too much for me to remember. Why is there so much? If we cut this in half, maybe I'd survive it. You complain like this too much. You've passed every test. Mostly with C's or B's. Not everyone needs to have straight A's. She sort of has a point. You're also wasting time. You could be reading that book. I slumped in my seat, picking up the book and starting to look it over. I never want to see another triangle after this class. Screw the triangles. It's language studies that I hate. When am I going to need to know these dead letters? Kiyomi shook her head, pulling out a pair of headphones. Did you pick out studying music or something, Kiyomi? No, I'm canceling noise with my noise-canceling headphones. She put on the headphones and went back to her reading. Izumi and I figured out what she meant and looked at each other in defeat. So, where the noise? I guess. I sighed deeply, passing the math book to Izumi. I'm gonna practice writing English. Maybe I can write about eating a banana or something. Izumi shut the book she was reading and took mine. What color will the banana be? Maybe red. Kiyomi rubbed her forehead, sighing. I can hear this idiocy even with the headphones. Go back to physics land, Kiyomi. I'm going to draw triangles while Himika eats a red banana. What a bunch of stupid classes. I forced myself to get back to work. As much as I hated exams, I understood why these classes were important. Just, why were triangles so complicated? I agree. Screw math, screw triangles. Week 16. The winter weather was bringing temperatures way down, to the point that even the school's internal heating wasn't always able to keep the buildings at a decent temperature. Because of this, and Kiyomi's condition, the school staff eventually allowed Kiyomi to borrow a space heater for her room. After classes, I tagged along to help her set it up. This looks like a good spot. Can you hold it here while I see if the cord reaches? Yeah, sure. Kiyomi took the power cable and pulled it over to the outlet. When she was sure it wouldn't be too short, she plugged it in. Let's see how that works. I turned on the heater to a medium setting and then held my hands a safe distance above the coils. It's working! That's good. Thanks for helping me set that up. No problem. We took seats on the bed next to each other and I wrapped an arm around Kiyomi. So, what should we do now? Kiyomi thought about this for a moment, playing with her glasses. I had a show I wanted you to take a look at, but before that, we could... She looked up at me with a coy smile and I felt like I had an idea of what she wanted. I guess a minute or so couldn't hurt. Leaning in, we kissed. Kiyomi pressed herself up against me, her arms hooked under me as if to pull herself even closer. When we pulled away, my mind was spinning like I had been running in circles. I could only grin stupidly as I tried to focus again. So... that show... Kiyomi laughed, but immediately covered her mouth. Sorry, I shouldn't be laughing at you like that. No, it's fine. I'll set it up. It was awkward for a little bit, but before long, Kiyomi was under my arm as we watched her show. It might have been something I'd be interested in usually, but having Kiyomi so close made it a little hard to focus on the TV. Week 17, winter break begins! I lay down on my bed, exhausted. Today marked the end of the semester. I had finished my last exam just minutes ago. Starting now, the school gave us a few weeks off before the next semester began. Some girls were probably packing up to go home for the New Year's, but most of them, like me, were going to be sticking around. That's just how boarding schools work, though. I got used to it, since I could talk to my family on the phone or on social networks anyway. It was kind of nice being away from home with no homework or classes to deal with, if only the closest town wasn't almost an hour away by bus. I was thinking about the winter break when I realized that Christmas was this week. I sat up, wondering what I should do. Not everyone considered Christmas a big deal, but I liked it. My parents always gave me at least 1 or 2 presents each year. Aside from presents, I was told Christmas was a romantic holiday. You were supposed to spend Christmas Eve with someone you loved. I could maybe try to set up a Christmas party with my friends. We could go into town and buy presents, then do a gift exchange. Or should I try something else instead? I decided to call up Kiyomi and ask her to spend Christmas Eve with me. After telling her what my idea was, I waited for her response. That sounds good to me. Where should we meet? Is my room okay? Yeah, that's okay with me. So, see you then? Yeah. I had to take a few deep breaths after hanging up. I had a date for Christmas Eve. I paced around my room, starting to get nervous. I wasn't prepared for tonight. There had been no cakes or anything like that left to buy at the dining hall, and I hadn't come up with any gift ideas for Kiyomi. I was fretting over what we'd even do for a Christmas date when I heard a knock at the door. I let Kiyomi in, and she immediately noted how nervous I looked. Are you okay, Himika? You don't look too great. I'm fine, just wasn't quite ready yet. Why not? I sighed, then explained to her my failures to prepare. Don't worry about it too much. I didn't come up with any ideas either. Should we just sit and stare at each other's eyes or something? Kiyomi chuckled, taking off her glasses to wipe them. I mean, we could, but maybe something else will come up as we talk? I hope so. We ended up watching trailers on Kiyomi's phone for a little bit. Kiyomi scrolled through lists of upcoming movies and TV shows and tried to figure out if any of them were worth watching. They're still making new seasons of Caged? I thought that show was over. There's 2 versions of it now, so it's still going pretty strong. Oh, right. The new Salvation movie is coming out this year. Let's see if that movie has a trailer yet. It wasn't as romantic as I wanted it to be, but I felt happy spending time with Kiyomi like this. Due to the smallness of the phone screen, we had to get close together while we watched the videos. Remembering how Kiyomi always felt cold, I decided to put an arm around her. Huh? Oh, sorry, did I surprise you? No, it's fine. She snuggled in against me, and I felt heat rising in a few places in my body. After a while, we ran out of things to look up and Kiyomi put her phone aside, but we didn't stop cuddling. I like this. You do? Yeah, you feel warm. And you... Kiyomi stopped herself. I wondered why until I realized she was touching one of my boobs. I felt myself blushing. Did she think it was too crude to say what she was thinking? I'm glad you like it. Now that I was aware that Kiyomi was groping me, I felt embarrassed, but I also felt like I deserved a chance to return the favor. Imagining touching Kiyomi's body made me clench my teeth to hide the way I was making me feel. I looked at Kiyomi's face, our eyes met, and neither of us was able to look away. My heart was pounding fast. Slowly, I reached over and slid Kiyomi's far arm out of her jacket. Can I try to warm you up another way? The seconds between my question and its reply would have felt longer if not for the smile that crept into Kiyomi's face. I was waiting for you to ask. Well, I guess it ends with us sleeping together. That's cute, I guess. The routes aren't that long, so maybe I'll do the other routes as well. I don't know if there's anything after the credits or not. I don't know if I can skip them. It doesn't seem like I can skip. Or maybe? Did I just skip? Okay, there is something else. Since Kiyomi wasn't in her room, I looked around for her until I found her in the library. Taking a seat across from her, I smiled at her. She smiled back, but it looked like a forced half-smile. In front of Kiyomi was a stack of books and papers, terrifying in its size. What's all this? I'm behind on homework. Huh? How? Kiyomi bit her lip. You sure you want to know? Yeah, is there any way I can help? Kiyomi muttered something under her breath, so I leaned in a bit. What was that? Maybe don't be so sexy. What? I felt my cheeks go hot. What kind of answer was that? Sighing, Kiyomi looked up at me. You know how we've spent a lot of time together ever since winter break? Yeah? Making out and hugging and... Yes? I tried to sound threatening without raising my voice. This is a library, but Kiyomi was getting too damn detailed for a public place. Well, I may have been forgetting to get homework done, too. So now I'm behind. I had to blink a few times as I tried to come up with a response. You're behind on classes because you're spending too much time with me? Well, more like spending too much time thinking of you. She lowered her head onto the table. Look, I know there's no excuse. I can't tell the teachers, hey, my girlfriend's boobies are too cute. But because I'm a dumb idiot and stupid, I have to sit here and do all my homework at the same time. I sat back, trying to think of what to say. Sorry, I didn't realize. It's not your fault. You're not the one that slacked off. Still, I would have done something if I knew it was a problem. Like what? I shrugged. Maybe make you do homework before we had dates? Kiyomi laughed, sitting back up. You're not just a reward, Himika. But it would be a lot more motivating that way, wouldn't it? Kiyomi's eyes widened a bit. I felt a bit embarrassed when I realized the extent of my statement. Still, if it kept Kiyomi from repeating classes... How about it? I'll help you work through this backlog, and we can do stuff afterwards. Are you sure? Hey, I like our time together too. I'm not just doing it for your sake. Kiyomi grinned, nodding. Okay, I still feel bad roping you in like this. Don't worry about it. We gotta get through all this to keep you from flunking. I promise, this will never happen again. We got to work as soon as we had our plan, but even with 2 people, it was hard to catch up on everything. While some assignments could just be copied, Kiyomi still needed to learn the information in some way, so we had to put our heads together to figure out how to cram a few weeks of homework into a few days. Whenever we came across a paper, I'd do the research for it while Kiyomi finished the other work. Then I would show Kiyomi what to look for when she wrote the paper. Alright, and maybe this isn't as short as I thought it was, depending on how long this goes on for. Since this took a few days, I ended up needing to take breaks to do my own homework. I barely had any time to spend with anyone other than Kiyomi. And then one day, I finally heard what I was so desperately wanted to hear. I think that's everything. I'm caught up. Oh, thank God. I stretched, feeling my sore back muscles ache. Finally. We're where we're supposed to be with schoolwork. Maybe we can finally stop ignoring Izumi. While Izumi had joined us a few times, it was true that we didn't have any time to spend with her outside of school-related work lately. I'm glad I was able to get this all done in time and without skipping track meets. That would have been embarrassing. At any rate, we're finally done. I leaned over to the table, taking Kiyomi's hand. Make sure to keep up from now on, okay? It's not worth doing this again. Yeah. She played with my hand, yawning. I'm tired. Yeah, me too. Still, I made you a promise. We got the work done on time, so... I didn't want to say more while we were in the library, so I hoped Kiyomi would know what I was getting at. I'm tempted, but I feel way too tired to really enjoy it right now. To be honest, I'm real tired too. Maybe this weekend, after we finish homework. Sure, that works for me. Kiyomi smiled at me, then let go of my hand. For now, I'm going to take a long nap. Good night. Kiyomi collected her books and left the library. I yawned, thinking that I could use a nap too. This week had been far more taxing than I had hoped for, but I was happy to be able to help Kiyomi avert disaster. I hope I don't ever impose anything like this on her one day. I shook those thoughts away. This weekend we were going to get our homework done early, and then we were going to have some fun together. I'm looking forward to it already, but first, I should rest. Alright, that's it then. Well, yeah, that's not too long, maybe like 40-ish minutes for our route, if even. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!